Hello YouTube, it's EmmaBlaze10 here, and this is my thoughts and opinions on the official 2013 ban list for March. And yes, I know I'm a few days late for this, but I've been working 7 days straight and I've been ill as well, so I haven't had time to do this video. So I'm sorry if it is a few days late, but anyway, you're getting my thoughts and opinions on the ban list anyway. To say the least, it's a very basic ban list, I would say. Nothing really stands out about it, to be honest, in my opinion. It hits, obviously, the one deck everybody was wanting to be hit, which was wind-ups. But at the same time, just in general, to me, it looks like it's trying to slow down the format slightly, because obviously with the Mermails, Fire Fists, and that not been hit, obviously this will be their chance to bloom and shine and to see how they do and how broken they can be for the next format. But apparently those archetypes weren't as fast as the current ones that were favoured for the previous format. But anyway, onto the actual list itself. Forbidden is Sangan and mainstream carrier Zenmighty. Sangan I'm actually not that surprised about. A little bit, yes, because I didn't think it would be this soon. But I am surprised, but I'm not that really surprised, because it's just too good, to be honest. I mean, I was personally using it as well in some versions of my Blue Eyes Dragons and that. And the combos it can do with Tour Guide and everything, I mean, yes, it does not get its effect if it's used as an Exceed material or anything, but just the combos of being able to get out Sangan and then being able to use it in other ways was just too easy, really. So, and it was also accessing to all the key cards in these decks that are needed, such as the Wind-Up Magician and like Insector Dragonfly and Wind-Up Hunter. Just trying to think off the top of my head here of what I can remember. Rescue Rabbit and everything. You know, Sangan gave access to all these cards, and as soon as you got that key card in your hand, boom, you could get your strategy going off, and then you basically had trouble getting back unless you had ways to stop it in that way. Wind-Up carrier Zenmighty. Now that's really now I'm not surprised that's been banned, to tell you the truth. First ever Exceed to hit the list, first ever, or to be limited at least, first ever Exceed now to be banished, which is interesting. But the thing is, it had to go, because I've dueled against wind-ups in my locals, or where I normally go to Edinburgh, is more generally favoured in, and Zenmighty, even at 1, was just making wind-up plays far too easy, to be honest. Just well too easy. I mean, if you hold 3, I mean 3 was really awful with the wind-up look as well, but just one of them, it just made things far too easy, really. And also because it could be recycled and everything with Pot of Avarice and other bits and bobs, you know, it was just too easily usable, made the wind-ups far too overpowered, really. So about time it got hit, to be honest. Limited now is Wind-Up Magician, One Day of Peace, and Solemn Warning. Magician I'm not surprised about. I was expecting, to be honest, I was expecting Shark to possibly get hit as well, just because of its special summon abilities and allowing you to go into ridiculous combos with rank 3s or rank 5s exceeds. But Magician's the main searcher, and no matter what, that effect will go off as soon as another effect, a wind-up effect, goes off, really, and it allows you to have multiple plays really easily. So about time. One Day of Peace. I've never really encountered this card except for in like and I've only heard about it really being used in Exodia decks. So I don't know what other decks it was used in, mind you, remember, because if you remember, guys, I haven't really played in this format, so I don't know what was actually quite big and what was not big and all that. But it's interesting to see that get hit at least, because it is quite a good card. I mean, yes, both players draw a card, but no damage for the rest of the turn. I mean, it's pretty good, to say the least. Solemn Warning, about freaking time. I hate that card with a passion. As Darkretition84 said in his ban list video, I am jumping for joy with this. I am so happy that's gone back down to 1, because I absolutely hate that card. Well, the reason is just because it was used against the Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon when I was trying to summon out Shining Dragon, so I was peed, to say the least, when that happened. But it means now that both counter cards, that Solemn counter cards, are at 1 now, so you'd have to be really careful about how to use them really, because obviously if you misplay it at the wrong time and didn't save it for later, you're going to obviously be in trouble. But nice to see that card go down. Thank goodness for that. Semi-restricted now. Tsukiyomi. I can't read that. Ryu, sorry. Thunder King Ryu. And Advanced Ritual Art. Tsukiyomi, I'm not really surprised. It came off the ban list last season. It has done absolutely nothing as far as I'm aware. Nobody's using it. It's probably going to go to 3 next ban list. Unless somebody finds a broken combo to use it with. But I highly doubt that. Thunder King Ryu, I'm not too surprised to be honest about this card. I mean, a lot of decks, whether they were meta or anti-meta or even fun, were just using 3 copies of this because it's just really good. It's only annoying to me because it stops my Whitestone or Legend search. That's it, pretty much. So that is a bit of an annoying thing, but it doesn't hurt me too badly. So nothing you can do about that. Anyway, Advanced Ritual Art. I'm kind of surprised to see this back at 2, because the only 2 decks that I know of that would see possible competitive play again are the Gishkis, because one of their cards got restricted last format. I think it was one of the rituals got restricted in a hand loop. I don't know the details about that. And the ritual deck that Dark Rotation 84 hates, which is the Herald of Perfection. I've gone against that deck a couple of times in previous formats, and that was a pain in the neck to say the least. But in some way, I'm actually happy to see that gone to 2 as well, because it means if I ever decided to use like Paladin or White Dragon in my Blue Eyes deck again, or build a deck based around like the evolved forms of the Blue Eyes, if you can understand what I mean, I could actually use 2 of these now, which is going to be a lot easier than using like Preparation of Rites and stuff like that. So, interesting choice to say at least. We might see ritual decks come back in some way. I think the only other deck that could possibly make a comeback as well, or might see some play, is also Relinquish, and I know Scapegoat User will be happy about that, because if he decides to use those cards for his Relinquish deck, it may be interesting to say at least. No longer restricted is Spore, Blackwing Kalut the Moonshadow, Lumina the Lightsworn Summoner, Shien Smoke Signal, and Mind Crush. Spore, I was expecting to go to 2 at least before it jumped to 3, really, because it's not seen much play. Plants haven't seen much play. They need Glow-Up Bulb really to become competitive again, I think, in general. And you can only use Spore's effect once per duel anyway, so we don't know yet though. It could make the plants a bit more competitive, but not as competitive as they would have been with Glow-Up Bulb. Blackfeather Kalut the Moonshadow. I'm not surprised that it's come off the ban list now. I was expecting maybe Blackwings to get a bit more support along with Black Whirlwind, because they haven't really seen much play, to be honest, and they were once one of the most really popular and deadly decks out there. But apparently a lot of people saying our Blackwings are dead, which I don't believe. They're still a dangerous deck. They just need a little bit more support, I think. But 3 Kalut the Moonshadow, that's basically their effect of 3 Honest, in all honesty. Okay, excuse the pun there. 3 Lumina. Now this is interesting. If I still had my own Lightsworn deck, I'd be very happy, but I don't run it anymore. This might give some Lightsworn builds a slightly more competitive edge, but at the same time it makes me wonder if it will come back, just because Lightsworns again, like the Blackwings, are considered to be dead. Shien Smoke Signal. Oh my god, Konami, I hope you know what you're doing. I hate 6 Samurais. I normally lose a lot against the 6 Samurais. I've only ever won against them once, really. So giving them their search ability back to, at least they didn't unlimit the Shien or anything. Thank goodness for that, because that's still a pain in the neck to say the least. But they're giving that deck a bit more speed now. They're supposed to make it a bit more competitive, which is going to be interesting to say the least. And then Mind Crush at 3. Well, I can understand why. Nobody uses it anymore, even though you could. I think it's because it could be just because there's so many decks being played now. You don't know what deck you're going up against until you're actually playing against it. So you can't predict what cards are in there. So throwing in a Mind Crush is probably not going to be worth it anymore, unless you're going to keep it as a side deck ability in case you do happen to have a mirror match, or or for game 2 you know what cards to hit when the opponent summons out their cards and all that. So it's interesting as I think as a side deck choice maybe, but at the same time I'm not too sure. Anyway, that's it for this ban list. That's all the cards there. I'll be leaving a link in the description below for you guys to have a look yourselves if you haven't already seen it. As I said, interestingly, this list suggests to me that Konami are trying to slow down the format a little bit. They're trying to give all the new decks a chance to shine, basically. At the same time, even though they've given some support to older archetypes, it also seems to suggest to me, at least, and this is just my personal opinion on this, that they no longer are going to do much support for Blackwings or Six Samurai or the Lightsworns. Well, maybe not support. There probably will be support for them later on, but I think Konami don't consider them in general as a dangerous deck anymore. The decks to make money of. So that's why everything's gone back up to 3 or whatever for them. But I could be wrong. I don't know yet. We'll have to wait and see what this format is going to be like. If I can actually get to play in this format, to be honest with you. Anyway, guys, that's it for the ban list. I hope you enjoyed, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Bye!